I'm back with another pretty short lower back care session. If you watched the first video, you'll know that I talked a lot about the positioning of the hips, of the pelvis, as being something to really think about in caring for and creating space and more ease in the lower back. Yeah, so not having too much tip in your pelvis or too much tuck in your pelvis. And I'll talk about it a little bit more today. If you're joining right now for this session, having a mat or a nice cozy floor space to lay on, great. And also, I have a simple folded towel, but you could have a folded yoga blanket or even a yoga block if you wanted a little bit more lift for some support that we'll use down on the pelvis. So we'll work on some opening, some mobilizing, and then also a little bit of strength work. All of this primarily focused on the hips, and we'll see what happens. A little bit of core too, actually, now that I think about it. But I'll stop with this and we can get into the content. So you're gonna take your block or towel or blanket and you're going to place it down onto the middle of your mat. Mine's very low today. I'm not giving myself too much lift, and honestly, this works nicely for me. If you're laying on your back with that blanket or block or towel right underneath of your hips, your buttocks, and your little tail, your coccyx that goes right down there into your bum. So bend the knees, lay yourself down on that level of elevation. Again, if it feels too high right now, it might be, and get something lower. Yeah, and then rest your hands on your belly. And go ahead and lose the screen, shut your eyes, and just take a moment to allow your pelvis to settle, allow your chest and your head to settle, and just feel 2 feet standing on the ground. Maybe a breath or two here, just rolling in and rolling out. Letting the belly open and expand, and then just organically contract and narrow. And if you'd like to blink your eyes open, please do. You're gonna keep your left foot on the floor and bring your right thigh to your chest. Hold on to the front of the shin. Maybe if you've taken class with me, you've done this before. We're not tugging the leg super tight and compressing the thigh and the hip socket. We're letting the leg be easy. We're letting the arms and the chest be easy. And this may be plenty. Yeah, or you can take that left foot, as I'm doing, an inchworm it forward and forward and forward until you start to slide on your heel and extend that left leg. And as I'm doing this, I'm trying not to tip or tuck in my pelvis. We actually did a very similar variation in last session or video. And then if you'd like today, left hand on left hip, right hand just slowly opening the right leg. Again, I'm not throwing it open. I'm just finding a little bit of space, and I'm letting my pelvis stay easy and neutral, not gripped, not lifting or flattening. I'm just trying to find a neutral, heavy place. And then you can just close it in, yeah? And let's place the right foot down, keep your knee bent, and then slowly bring your left foot up and bring your left thigh into your chest. Oh, and then again, don't tug it close. Like, let it be easy. Yeah, we don't need to compress. We don't need to force right now. Who knows? That might have been the culprit of what got us into a situation of feeling lower back pain. I know it has been for me before. You can extend your your right leg by inchworming your foot forward and lengthening through that right thigh. I have to work on trying not to tip and overarch in my back. You might be the opposite. If you feel like you're really tucking under right now, what happens if you free yourself a little bit and just let that lower spine kind of open into its natural curve? And then right hand on your leg, open your left thigh a little or a little more out to the left. And see if the back of your body can maintain this nice, easy, weighted place on your floor. One final breath. And then close it back in. And bring your left foot down. And bring your right foot up. And have a second to have 2 feet on the ground. Sense of weight in your hips. And then you can remove what's underneath of your hips by pressing down into the feet, by lifting up your pelvis and sliding it out. Just set that aside. And then I'm going to take some rocking just to release a bit through the legs. I think I'll bring you another somatic video at some point where we can do more loosening up of the legs inside the hip sockets. Yeah, but for today, just a little bit of rocking, a little bit of breathing, and then we're going to come into some strengthening work. So I'm going to roll to my right side, and I'm going to use my left hand, lift up about halfway, and then lay on my right side. So I'm bringing my right arm out long, palm down onto the ground, 2 bent knees. We're going to work some variations of clamshells here. I'm resting my head in my hand. If you need a little bit of extra support, blanket under the arm or head in hand. I like this blanket under the arm, so I'm going to stick with that. And I'm going to show you 3 options here for strengthening your outer hips that could also be of support for the lower lumbar spine. So first off, it's just going to be keeping these shins down, thighs down, and opening the top thigh and closing it. Notice I'm not opening and rolling back and forth, but I'm just isolating this action to the left leg, lifting up and down at a very small degree inside the hip socket. You could do about 10 of these reps, and then the second variation would be to pick up your shins and open and close with your shins lifted. That's beautiful. Again, not rocking on my pelvis or my ribs. Okay, so you get all these clamshells in to really turn on the outer hip and the outer thigh. And then the third variation, not really doing it in real time right now, just giving you some things to take away. You're going to slide your bottom leg up and extend your top leg out. And so you can see I have the leg in line with the hip socket, and I have the foot flexed like I'm one long pencil line on the floor. And I'm going to draw small circles of this top leg inside the hip socket. Very small and as precise as I can, again, without rocking on my hips or moving too much in my chest. Just nice, easy circles. Close my eyes and get some sun on my face here too. You'll reverse directions and do that the other way. Whew. And then you'll bring that leg in. Second side of all of this, we won't do it in real time. So hey, pause the video, get over on your other side and find those 3 variations on your opposite leg. Again, clamshell, Yeah, shins lifted with clamshell. And then one leg forward, one leg back with the circles. Yeah. So have that moment as you need to, and then join me back here. Tabletop position, hands and knees. Yeah, engaging the core. So no cow, no cat spine here, right? Remember we talked about being too tucked and too tipped in the pelvis, and where can we land in that middle ground where our head is lengthening forward and our tail is lengthening backwards in space. This is really deep self-inquiry, because often we have a head that's dropping and a pelvis that's thrusting forward, or a head that's thrusted up and a pelvis that's thrusted back. And how can we just land it in the middle? Okay, you might be finding this. And from there, tuck the toes, lift the knees up an inch. And chill out here and have a few breaths. Yeah, get into a bit of solid core after you guys have gotten into some solid side bums, as I like to call them. One more nice deep inhale. And then from here, we're gonna come to stand. So your choice. There might be a different way you can do it. I'm gonna walk my hands back to my toes, lower my heels down, have my knees bent, and tip it up to stand. Yeah. Walk it out a little bit. Release it out. Maybe give yourself just a little palpation to feel where your hips are right now. If they're thrusted forward, if they're tipped back, if you feel a little secure in the outer legs. In review, we have some opening that we did laying down on the floor. We have some clamshell action to strengthen in the outer lines of the legs, those 3 variations. And then we just had a little bit of core work in tabletop position. So take these exercises with you, please, and use them for yourself every day or a couple days a week, along with any of your other training methods, to just give you a sense of security and freedom in your body. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon with some more tips and tricks.